What's up, everyone? Sean here, and today on the Hawk Talks, I wanted to talk about the Sonic the Hedgehog live-action movie that's been revealed today, with a trailer out all over the internet now. We've now have come to see it as a whole, and I wanted to provide my opinion about it when it comes to Sonic's new look and the trailer and everything else, my impressions about the movie so far, what I think of it and all that. So, I think it's come to a very clear understanding that it's being universally panned. I think Sonic absolutely looks like fucking ass. I really don't know how. I really don't know how Sonic came to this, for his final look. It really baffles me. It really puzzles my mind. It really boggles it as well. And this is coming from a longtime Sonic fan. I was introduced to it a long time ago by my friend. He showed me the 3D Sonic games and all the 2D classic Sonic games. Ranging from the Dreamcast to the Sega Saturn, blah blah blah, you name it. And ever since, I know, after just looking at the Sonic games, they look really fun and cool. So I went to go play all the 3D Sonic games that I could get my hands on, and including Sonic Heroes is my favorite. Anyway, point being, I love Sonic as a character, as a franchise, and I like him. You know, I like Sonic the Hedgehog and others, and oh boy, this is a sad, sad day for the hardcore Sonic fans and everyone else who was at least kind of attached to Sonic at some point. It's definitely a bad day, and it really baffles me as to how it all came to this. And Sonic himself looks horrifying. Horrifying, man. Like it really makes you think, you know, people at the board meeting really had to see this, and no one really looks like no one really said this has to go back to the drawing board. But instead, they just went with it. You know, this is great. Let's go with this. Oh boy! 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 Yeah. I mean, we've got a first glimpse of it. I thought of it as like rumors and stuff like that. I didn't want to take it seriously and stuff, and took it with the smallest grains of salts, right? Until the trailer came out, and lo and behold, the trailer came out, and that's pretty much what he looks like. Oh man! But I will say this: the redeeming factors are there, and I think everyone has said it already, and I will say it myself. Jim Carrey is Jim Carrey. You know, he just happened to give him the name Dr. Eggman / Dr. Robotnik, whichever era you came from. I call him Dr. Eggman, but Robotnik, whatever. Maybe he is Robotnik, and maybe later he calls himself Eggman after he loses the hair or something, as we saw at the end of it. And I honestly, I think man, my hair, it's you know which. At the end of the trailer, Dr. Eggman / Robotnik really becomes, you know, he really dons the look for a live action movie, and I think he looks good there. He's got the red, he's got the goggles, he's got the mustache, and I want to see Jim Carrey because I grew up watching Jim Carrey movies long ago, and we're seeing the old Jim Carrey. He's back as Dr. Eggman of all things. So I think that's really cool. I think he is, you know, a good part of that. But this is Sonic the Hedgehog. This is not Dr. Eggman / Dr. Robotnik movie. Or, you know, this is not Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, you know, the movie. This is Sonic the Hedgehog. We have to get Sonic the Hedgehog right. And it didn't get it right here. You know? Oh, man. I mean, let's just talk about Sonic himself, right? I'm okay with the fur, right? But that's what kind of where it ends. I don't like the belly fur thing. I don't like the lack of gloves. I don't like the human portions of him. He just looks like a small little guy, you know, a human. It's just weird. It's very, very like, it's got that like, uncanny valley sort of phenomenon going on with his body, not with his eyes. His eyes are just bad overall, especially when you see that first shot of Sonic in the trailer. Everything there's so much wrong with it, with this look. I honestly thought, why don't you just take the Sonic classic Sonic look, or the modern Sonic look from the 3D games, because those cinematic cutscenes look good, you know. So why don't they just take that Sonic and just put him in a real world, just like they would with Looney Tunes Back in Action or Space Jam. Except obviously they're hand drawn and whatever, but get point being, why don't you just take that same Sonic, put on some realistic textures, you know, and then call it a day. But no, they have to live action him up, humanize him way too much, to the point where it's just almost creepy. It's terrifying in a lot of shots. There are very few angles where he does look okay. Like this screenshot, for example, I'm looking at it right now, but I'll put it up in post, here or there, whatever. But he looks okay here, but everything else, he just looks like pure ass. Like, it really still baffles me as to why they thought it was okay to go with this look. I'm like just staring. I'm staring at the good part of Sonic, and I'm still like boggled, man. The shoes look okay, but everything else is just so bad. Oh boy, I need to cut my hair. But anyway, back to the subject. The movie itself is very cheesy. It's very basic, as one character described the general. In terms of like a cheesy video game movie of the decade, there was always that one bad movie that's, you know, dedicated to a video game or a comic book or whatever. So in the 80s there was Howard the Duck, or Howard Duck. In the 90s there was a Super Mario Brothers movie. In the 2000s there was Dragon Ball Evolution, or you could say Avatar, or you could say The Last Airbender was the bad movie of that century, or of that decade. But probably Evolution takes the cake. Either one, right? But now, in the 10s, or the 2010s, we're getting Sonic the Hedgehog right at the end of 2019 in November, and he looks just as horrifying as all the incarnations of whatever video game characters in their own respective movie. Man, oh man, oh man. This is 2019. Like, you would think by this time they would get, you know, the whole, like, you know, look down, you know what I mean? Like, they would be able to just get that look, kind of change things a bit for the live action genre, and boom. But instead of a boom, it's just like just this horrifying crash that you know, has everyone just gasping in just absolute terror. It's a bloody mess. And yeah, I mean, everything else in the movie, I mean, the writing, the dialogue, and everything is terrible. The sound effects, at least, were there. The classic sound effects are there. I feel like the action will be okay, but it's just Sonic. That's the biggest problem of them all. It's the title character himself. Man, they really, really, really need to reconsider the look of Sonic right now. I hope they do, but I'm not gonna hold my breath on it because I have a feeling that this is it. And if this is it, then I have only one reason to watch this movie, and that's Jim Carrey as Dr. Eggman. He's literally gonna carry the movie. And I'm sure everyone has that kind of opinion. He's literally gonna be the one reason to watch this movie. He is a saving grace. He's gonna be fun to watch, but don't expect Jim Carrey to really nail down Dr. Eggman / Robotnik. It's Jim Carrey, but that's like one of the reasons why you should love him, because he's just he is a maniac of an actor, a great actor, but he is very crazy. He's bonkers. He still got it. And I'm gonna go see it. I'm gonna go see it with my friend Danny and maybe a couple of others, but oh boy. November will be a great month for movies. And Sonic the Hedgehog will probably take the cake for being the worst film of the year in my personal lists. But again, I mean, we'll have to see. Man, I really hate this whole trend of things going live action. Now, I think the one that's really getting it right is Pokemon's Detective Pikachu. That there at least has the spirit. Pikachu does look like Pikachu. They got his movement down and everything. His portions right. He doesn't look human, so that's a plus, right? But that shouldn't not be a thing to worry about. Like, why give a cartoon character or a video game character human characteristics? What is the point of that that design? You know what I mean? We love the character because that's the way they looked in their original media, and yet they got the investors or whatever, or the people in the board meeting, they have to ruin it for everyone else. Why? I don't know. They just don't know how to handle trends and stuff. They don't know how to look at video game characters and stuff. They don't really hire the right people at that. I don't know. It's a mystery to me. But we can only see the end result, and it's horrible. It's horrifying. The trailer itself, like, I mean, I kind of vaguely mentioned earlier, it was, I mean, what else could go wrong, right? I mean, the music is very strange. They didn't even throw in any, like, classic Sonic soundtracks in there. It was just, what, Gangster's Paradise, whatever it's called. I didn't even know what the song was. I was so horrified by Sonic himself that I didn't even remember how the soundtrack went. The soundtrack is the least of my worries. It's Sonic himself, and it makes me really wish that that one poster that was leaked like way while back with Sonic like on the car like this, like a cop car, and in a like a sheriff or cop who looked like Chris Pratt was with him. I wish that was the guy. That was the main character, you know. Instead, we have another actor who was also in some sort of like live action sort of weird cartoony sort of movie called Hop, I think it was called. I think it was supposed to be like a parody of like a cartoon character or something. I'm not too sure too much, but he is cursed with these movies, seems like. I haven't looked into too much about himself, but all I know is that he seems to be cursed with these movies. It's damning to say the least. So I don't know how. I mean, it makes me really think why Jim Carrey accepted this role. Maybe he is a fan of Dr. Eggman or something. Maybe he's a secret fan of Sonic. I mean, there are some surprises when it comes to celebrities liking video games. So, I mean, well, it is what it is for right now, and it's terrible looking. But, you know what? I'm gonna go see it because one, I am a Sonic fan. Two, Jim Carrey. Okay. That's probably the number one reason, but it's Jim Carrey. I mean, come on. How can someone from the 90s like me not go see a movie like this for reasons other than Jim Carrey? Yeah. I don't know. It's just terrible. It's terrible. Terrible. Imagine this movie, succeeding in terms of like how much it sold, and they decided to go with the sequel. Imagine how his friends are gonna look, like Amy, freaking Tails, Knuckles, like maybe Shadow, Rouge, all the rest. What are characters like Charmy and Vector and fucking Espio gonna look like? Oh my god, that's gonna be terrifying to see. At least they'll probably get someone like Omega, right? Because he's just a fucking robot. But that's not really saying much. Imagine what Big is gonna look like, if they assumingly make a sequel out of this, but that's really way too early to say. But just imagine this kind of quality passing over to the rest of the characters. It's terrible. It's going to be terrible. But anyway, this is what we got. This is what the fans get. This is what everyone else is gonna see. I hope a video game does not come from this, but I have a feeling somewhere it's gonna happen. Maybe some sort of mobile game, maybe some sort of little small budget game based off of the movie. Man, it's gonna be hot garbage. Hot garbage. Thanks to the producers of the Fast and Furious series. They should stick to those movies, not this. Ugh. Man. Well, anyway, that's probably all my thoughts for now for Sonic the Hedgehog. My impressions of him. The movie. Jim Carrey, though. Jim Carrey is gonna carry the movie. I know it's a terrible pun, but that's how it is. So anyways, that's my thoughts. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. What are your thoughts about this whole disaster of a movie reveal, I guess, with Sonic the Hedgehog? Man, Sonic the Hedgehog has been getting the short end of the stick too many times. I think maybe the racing game might be good, but that's not really saying much because it's a spin-off. But his main games have not been so hot, including Sonic Forces. Anyway, sorry. What do you guys think about the movie? Leave your comments down below. Love to read them. And don't forget to hit the like, subscribe. You know the drill. Check out all the social media stuff and check out the Loot Crate stuff, sponsorships. All that information is in the description box below. Oh man, all these live action movies and Sonic the Hedgehog is by far the worst. Why?